Welcome to the No Grow Skill podcast. We have one of my personal greatest friends and wonderful person, but also who happens to be the chief revenue officer at a managed services provider, Michael Fowler at Fuse.Cloud. Michael, thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
I love all the football and Alabama tribute behind you. That goes to show that you're a winner both in your company and you're a winner in life as an Alabama fan.
Full time.
Roll Tide, that's right. So we're going to talk today about a lot of folks that we work with and a lot of people that listen to the podcast are either building a sales team for the first time as an IT company or managed services provider. Maybe they've built one and they've had things that are and aren't working. I know that you've been doing this for 17, 18 years. How long?
Yep, 17.
17 years. So you certainly would have a lot of experience and stuff to tell us about as it relates to revenue growth and getting a true kind of blueprint in place so that you can be predictably successful. So today we're going to talk about real tactical strategies to help grow your managed services provider revenue from you, an industry vet. So when you look back on your sales journey as a leader in this industry, and it's not easy. I think that everybody can attest to that, especially if there are CEOs listening that are trying to be sales leaders right now until they can afford to hire their own. What would you say some of the biggest roadblocks to drive revenue for the business have been in your career?
I would say really just let me take you back to when I started. So when I
Yeah,
started at Fuse.Cloud, we didn't really have a lot of, I guess you'd call it, competition out there, and we also
right.
didn't have
And
a lot
started
of
as a voice only provider, correct?
voice only. So really, when I started, we were just actually educating people on this new technology that was
Right.
out there. So I would say at the very beginning, that was one of the biggest challenges, is just making people aware of the technology. So
And that
kind of
makes the sales process that much longer because it's not like you can go in there and there's already an understanding of what you even do. You've got to start from the very beginning.
beginning. So it kind of works both ways. So we had an advantage in the fact that we were one of the first providers out there doing this, but then on the flip side, nobody really knew about it. So we were
And caveat, you're also in Mississippi, which we are not known to be early adopters of anything. So
correct. That was a
other
challenge.
than really good recipes, but outside of that, we're not really known. So that was a challenge in itself for sure.
That's right. That's right. So as people started to adopt this technology, it was an advantage because, like I said, we were one of the first to do it in
Right.
the state. On the flip side of that is the fact that as we moved along, through the years, we started to see more and more companies selling the services we sell. So it made it, the challenge I think we face today is that voice and internet have really become a commodity, so to speak. And so, really, the challenge is, how do you separate yourself? Because
Right.
everybody is selling what we sell, or a lot of people, in the area. So, what makes us different
Right.
than those other providers? And when you find the differentiators, that's really the key.
That's what you're selling. It's not necessarily as much the commodity, even though they're getting that. They can get that anywhere. Yeah.
Correct. You can get that anywhere.
Yeah, that's good. So it's common from what I see that IT companies and MSP owners typically get stuck in this like feast or famine. The getting's good or it's a really bad month. And we know, I mean, just from having worked together in our careers that we know to expect what, which months are going to be down months that you kind of, build to prepare around that. But, how do you like, what do you believe is like the cause of that roller coaster? And I think it's pretty much industry wide, but I'd be interested to hear your perspective on, particularly for IT companies and MSPs, what's kind of the cause of that roller coaster. And then how do you really make that shift for your team to move toward that sustainable pipeline growth? Because you've got a number to hit regardless of whether it's a good time of year or bad. So
Correct. I mean, I think that it's really important as you're building a sales team to find people that can relate to other people who they're going to be out in front of.
yeah,
It's very important to know, number one, as you're building out a sales team, to have patience as the new sales rep coming into the company, to make them understand, hey, this is not something that's going to happen fast. It's something that takes time, but you have to put in the effort and really be patient with yourself, but work hard every day to establish those relationships out in the community and really build that trust. I would say is probably the most important thing, because you have really one shot when you walk in, the first impression, so to speak.
Yeah.
And either, someone likes you in that first 10 seconds, or they don't. And that's
Mhm.
probably where you can lose it, really quick from the start, or,
Mhm.
you can have that good first impression and build that relationship over time.
Yeah. So you're saying that the key to sustainable pipeline growth is really making it more about a relationship than as much a number, because the better relationships you have, the more you'll be able to find that, you know,
Correct. It is about, just the number of, quality opportunities
yeah,
that you have that you can put into the pipeline, but that starts with, the relationship
relationship.
that you
Yeah.
build.
Yeah.
If they don't trust you, they won't buy from you. And
Yeah.
so it's just really important to find people that I guess can handle a no, because
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot more no's than yeses. They're driven, they're motivated, by whatever it is inside of them. There's only
Yeah.
so far that we can take them
Right.
as managers and leaders. They still have to have that extra step.
Yeah. To get up themselves and do it. What do you, I mean, I know we've journeyed through some good ones and some bad ones. So like what would you say are like those things that pretty early on you can tell either it's going to be a winner or it's not going to, because that's another thing too, is like, you know, I know I've made the mistake in the past of hiring too fast. They say hire slow, fire fast, that type of thing. Particularly in sales, like it's known to be higher turnover than, probably any other department. What are those like key indicators, those first couple of months that you see, or do you put anything in place to make sure that if somebody's tracking in the right
I
direction?
mean, I think activity. I mean, you have to have
Yeah.
the activity, where I think, if I've failed anywhere as far as on the hiring side, it's not holding people accountable to that activity piece.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, you're not going to see the results very quickly.
Yeah.
You have to know that that's a process. It's going to take
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah.
But if they're not putting in the daily activity,
Pretty
you
quickly.
know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And do you say, so I love that you said it's not going to happen that quick, because I get, of course, in marketing and trying to drive leads for clients, I get that same question all the time. How quickly are we going to start seeing leads? And most of the time it's with owners like Gary at Fuse.Cloud and others who have started the business off of handshakes and built it off of referrals. And then they're going online digital to try to create leads from totally cold to burning hot. And that's not something you do even in one-on-one relationships you can do really quickly. So what what have you seen is the sales cycle kind of time frame from relationship building to close? And I know it varies,
It
based on
varies.
how ready they are to buy, but
Correct. It's a lot about timing, but I would say, 90 days, 60 to 90 days
yeah.
is a pretty good gauge. But I will say, going back to like how do you develop, the leads and the opportunities to fill a pipeline, I think it's a combination of things. I think you have your marketing piece that's important, that will, feed you warm leads, so to speak. Then I
Mhm.
think you have your reps out there that are going door to door, getting in front of people. I think that's something that we don't see a lot of anymore. A
Yeah, I'm
lot of
glad you brought that up, because that's very much still a strategy that you use that works, and you've got to do it. Yeah.
it's a strategy that works, and I'm a testament to that. That's how it worked for me.
Mhm.
And like I said, I've been doing this for 17 years, and really nothing has changed in regards to that. You still have
Right.
to get out there and get in front of people and talk to
Right.
people. But I do think it's a balance. You do have the days where you need to sit back and you need to follow up with emails, pick up the
Right.
phone, and do follow ups. I think on average it takes, probably between 8 to 10 touches to really
Yeah.
even set a meeting.
Yeah.
So you have to
Yeah.
really stay
See, I've heard
persistent.
like 12 to 17. So
Yeah,
I'd say 8 to 10 is good. But I mean, I'm
probably
coaching our
higher.
clients through pipeline right now. And if it's sitting in cold lead, if you're going from totally cold, you're definitely going to have to be committed to the touches.
Yeah, so I think it's finding the people that will stay committed to that and not get frustrated. I think the people that have not worked out, in our company are the ones that, they just given up. They might
Right.
go out and see some prospects but they're not doing the follow-ups and the things it
Right.
takes to really develop, and nurture those leads to,
Right.
move them over into, those opportunities
And
that you need.
I think it's a really, really important thing to focus on for a minute is that one, there's not any one strategy that you just use this one thing and it works and that's all you do. I mean, we've learned and you've learned from pulling in marketing automation, like you still have to have that go-getter or, that person who's going to do the follow-up. The same thing. If you just count on that one tactic, then that's not a way to build a system that hits a number every time. That's putting all your eggs in one basket. And the same thing for like, in my opinion, and I think you've seen it like from sales reps, is you can't just hire one personality type and expect that person to be able to do everything from nurturing to close. I mean, you kind of have to figure out personalities of the reps and know who's willing to who's best equipped to do what, right? You kind of have to
Correct.
that.
Yeah, and we've tried different things. I mean, and you do have to change it up. I think that's the one thing that has helped me in terms of managing a team is I, started out there just like they do, door to door. So I understand the grind that it
And
is.
there's
And
there's psychological stuff that happens when you do the door to door that teaches them a lot more than anything else, I think.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I think that has helped me in terms of understanding like what they go through day to day, because it's not
Yeah.
easy, but it
Yeah.
is important to have different personality types on the team,
Yeah.
that everybody has their strong points and their weaknesses. And sometimes, we've even sent people out together because
I
they
was
work.
going to ask, do you support the team selling approach? Do you feel like that's worked
I
better or do
think
you think? Yeah.
I think it just depends. It depends on the people you have on your team, but
Yeah.
the team approach does work better. We have seen success in the team approach, so we mix it up, and that's good for our team in itself. It changes it up for them. It's not the same thing day to day. So we'll do some things, in different quarters and things like that throughout the year that change it up for them and allow them to do some team, activities
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to work together on opportunities and whatnot.
Yeah, that's good. Is there a secret for, and again, we win some, we lose some, but do you feel like there's a secret or a tip that you could provide somebody that maybe hasn't started building a sales team yet, as far as how to attract and retain talent, or how to make sure you don't hire the wrong person or anything related to that you could provide some wisdom on?
I mean, I just think that when you're starting out, you do have to understand there is going to be some turnover. That's just, what's going to just happen naturally over
Right.
time until you find those right pieces. I've never been the one to, a lot of sales companies, they understand. I mean, they're constantly churning reps in and out. And I've never been one to really do that. I want to find the people that are going to stick with the company, can grow with the company, because I think it's important when you can show, your prospects out there that these
Right.
reps have been at your company for,
Right.
years,
Right.
that says something about, what you're
It,
doing.
it probably sets them apart from the competitor that's walking in that hasn't been, maybe that keeps sending somebody different in every month.
Right, that it's somebody
Yeah.
different. So, and that builds trust. So I
Yeah.
think that it's just I would say to somebody building from scratch that it's going to take some time, but
Yeah.
just find those people that are going to be driven, that are
Yeah.
motivated to go out there, because this is not easy and it's something that is going to take time. So I would say you're going to have to be patient, but understand that there is the activity piece that's really important.
Yeah.
If they're not putting in the activity daily to build the
Then it's
pipeline.
okay. Then it's okay to get rid of them early. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not going to work, and that's okay because this line of work is not for everyone, and
Right.
it's important that you find the people that are going to do what you need them to do.
Right. Right. And with the 90-day sales cycle too, I think it's hard to bring somebody in and allow them to have a quick win because not the wins aren't really all that quick. So, and that's what kind of leads me to motivation. Like, how do you 17 years of doing this like that, it says something. How do you stay motivated? What kind of gets you outside of money? I guess, money is usually a motivator for salespeople, but
Nice, but I just think that for me personally, I've always been very competitive. So, you can have a healthy team, but at the same time, I think it's good for them to have that competitive drive and want
yeah,
to want to
yeah,
but you can do that in the right way. You can also be teammates at the same time and pull for one another.
right.
But that probably for me, I remember back when I was door to door, and it was at times it would get tough because you'd get way more no's than yeses, and so I would just use different challenges, challenge myself each day, each week with something different, some goal that I wanted to meet for myself. I mean, I couldn't rely on my manager to
Get you
really
out of bed
give
every
me
day.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
really give me that piece of it. And
Do
that's
you
what worked for me.
do you feel like having a goal, like I know every individual sales team member obviously has their own goal, but do you feel like I mean, do you have a shared goal too, where it's like we all win individually if we hit this, but if we hit this, like, is that something, a carrot that you dangle for a big goal, or have you done that before?
Yeah, we
What,
do. We have our overall, team goal, and then each individual rep has their own goal,
yeah,
but we'll put that team goal out there and incentivize them
right.
to help one another
Yeah,
because if, one person can't do it all. So they really
right,
have to, support one another to have everyone get to those goals so the team goal can be met, and then
right,
incentivize them with, maybe an extra bonus
right,
for
right.
that
I think we
quarter.
could do a whole nother podcast on episode on just like goal setting and that type of thing. That might be our part two. But
Sure.
as we kind of wrap up, if you could offer one piece of advice for typically IT company owners or MSP owners start by hiring a salesperson that might eventually become a sales leader, like you did. You were the first, one of the first salespeople that the CEO hired, and now you're a sales leader. If you are talking to an owner of an IT company or MSP and they're looking to hire a sales leader or their first sales person, what piece of advice would you give them?
I would say that you probably would like to find someone that has, started, I guess you would say, from the bottom and kind of work their
Yeah.
way up, because it's important for them to understand the experience that the people they're going to hire are going to be going through. Is
Yeah.
if you bring someone in who's never really done it, not to say that can't work, but it's hard for you to really be a leader, in my opinion. One thing that I think makes it, easier for me to manage them is saying, hey, I've done it. I know what you're going through. I know the challenges that you're facing. And so I think that builds some trust with your team, that they
Yeah.
understand that you've done it. And if, what I've always told people is, hey, I've been there, done that. If I can do it, you can
Yeah.
do it.
That really helps. Yeah, that's good. A good leadership quality, and always, I mean, it's really hard to not just to trust, but to look up to someone or be motivated by someone who's never been in your shoes. So I think that I used to have a track coach that I'm not sure ever ran track. And so it was always like, oh, am I really motivated to push harder for this guy or not? So all right. Well, any parting words of wisdom? I feel like this has been a really good kind of first step for somebody that's looking to start a sales team. But I think that I definitely want to get maybe deeper into on the next one, get deeper into goal setting and figuring out how to know how much you can expect out of someone to close in this industry.
Sure. Yeah, I would just say if you're just starting out about to hire a team, just you're going to have patience.
Yeah.
know what to look for. I think like I said, the most important thing is the activity piece early on, but just have patience with it and understand that every day is really a new challenge in itself, and
Yeah.
just embrace it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the podcast today. I know that we'll have a second one soon. I appreciate you being here today. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.